one of the bigger, I think, more underrated stories of the night was kind of like a last minute, like, Hook is debuting, and I think they should have made a little bit bigger deal of it because there's been a lot of hype around Hook. And as Excalibur said it best, man, Team Taz, they build assassins, and I loved. I think it was a home run. I honestly think it was an A+ debut. I liked his boxing style, in-ring gear.
Yeah.
Pretty dominant, smooth offense by Hook, and very convincing win against Fuego del Sol. What we saw out of him, his technical wrestling, his power. Granted, he was against another, a smaller guy. Is really going to be interesting moving forward, and I think this is the story of the night, in my opinion. You talk about top performers of the night, I still would have to give it to Ray Phoenix, but I think like the story of the night and the one that we're talking about the most is how well Hook performed. What do you think?
My top performer of the night's Hook, without a doubt. I mean, there was a lot of hype about Hook, a lot of hype. And I thought he handled it perfectly well. I thought he like the entrance, the entrance with the cool like Action Bronson song, like he just kind of had this vibe to him the whole time. His presentation was really good, on point. Always kind of has this kind of like badass vibe to him right now. I like that. I thought that like in ring, I was really impressed by, again, his dad was known. I know you weren't a huge ECW guy, but like ECW was known as this hardcore badass place, right? And Taz was kind of known as like this street fighter who would suplex. He was the human suplex machine.
Yep.
And he would suplex the hell out of you, and he would choke you out. And it was cool to see his son kind of do the same thing. Like Hook was throwing some nasty suplexes in this one. Suplexes are a lost art in wrestling in general. Like, they've gotten spammed, like the German suplex has gotten spammed by Brock Lesnar to a point that they've lost their beauty and their technique. And I want to say, like, in the main event, I'm going to compliment another performer on some incredible displays of the suplex technique. But I was really impressed by Hook's just general overall composure for being such a young kid. Having a lot, I'm sure, like
chomping on that gum the whole time.
You could tell, like, that's a big moment for that kid. And I thought that he crushed it. I thought he absolutely crushed it. Feels like he's a star in the making. And AEW does a nice job. I mean, sometimes it's to a point like where I get frustrated, but they do a nice job of making you want to see certain attractions in the ring.
Right.
Wardlow, we've talked about, like, we want to see that Powerhouse Hobbs push. We want, I mean, how often do we talk about MJF is always talking, but he rarely wrestles. They have you wanting, they do a nice job of playing the audience so that you're not getting too much of a good thing.
Right. And, as soon as Brian Cage left Team Taz, that left kind of, obviously Powerhouse Hobbs, the big guy in the group, and then Starks, the talker, and the swagger. But, Starks hasn't been wrestling that consistent. Right. And then all of a sudden you recruit Dante, and then he turns. But now all of a sudden you have Hook debuting. That just adds another arsenal, piece in your arsenal. And it immediately gives Taz more street cred. And so in the past, Hook was kind of just like this background character, like, what can he do? What can he do? We saw him throw some fists a couple times, but now Team Taz looks pretty diverse and pretty strong now with three that can go in the ring.
Yeah. And like, again, presented in a way, you said it, against Fuego, presented in a way where, like, all right, he didn't look small. Right? He didn't look small by any stretch. And that's important, right? I mean, he's a young kid, but you need to present him in a way that he looks strong, because he kind of is like a silent assassin, like bodyguard of FT, like, of Team Taz. So it's important that he kind of can maintain that aura around him. And AEW did a great job presenting him that way. Fuego, props to him. Ate a nasty lariat in this match. If you haven't caught it, go back and check that one out. Hook just absolutely leveled him with a lariat, but ultimately choking him out. And I
the
love
Taz
that.
mission pretty much.
I love
yeah.
that, dude. It was
Modified
great. So,
Taz mission.
yes, sir.